Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 364, and today we're going to be doing battle with Kai'sa Garen Jarvan. And so this Garen Jarvan deck, I took this straight out of the winner's lineup from the Mastering Runeterra Open. We didn't get the opportunity to play in the Mastering Runeterra Open. I was a little bit busy, so I didn't get the chance to jump into that event as much as I would love to have done, but taking a peek at the top 8 lineups and the eventual winner, BaJAtakk. Sorry if I butcher your name. saying words good is not my strong suit, but had a very similar lineup to what we've been playing in best of 3 in the Ruthless Opens. And then I also just got completely smoked by Kai'Sa over the course of some of the past Open events, and so I was wanting to give this deck a shot, see if it's something that we can't fit into our lineup for the big event coming up here in about a week. And so if you're interested in some of these decks that we're talking about, I did check the Mastering Runeterra website, but it does not appear to be updated just yet with the deck lists from the event. I'm sure they'll put it up. It'll probably just take another day or two for it to find its way there. But in the event that it's not, you can go to the Mastering Runeterra Twitter page. It's Master Runeterra as the username, and then one of the top posts is going to be this top cut looking screen here. It has a link to the tourney deck lists. You can click on it. It will take you to a Google deck list thing that has every player in the event, along with all 3 of the deck lists that they brought. And then over on the right side of the page in the top 8 section, you can see what the top cut players were playing. And so that was what kind of really struck me as interesting with BaJAtakk. And here he's playing Teemo Tristana in the Bilgewater version, this Kai'Sa deck that we're going to be playing today, and then the Pantheon Samira deck. And it's very similar to what we've been playing in Best of 3. To where we've been playing Aatrox's Vayne, and I haven't been particularly happy with it. And so to get yourselves kind of ready for what you're going to be seeing in the upcoming days, I'm really looking to just kind of push away from Aatrox's Vayne. And the things I'm kind of looking to fill in that space are going to be this Kai'Sa deck, Scouts, which we'll touch on tomorrow, or switching to a way to where we play something like Vayne Pantheon and then Samira Varus. But I think not to get too into the weeds as we're trying to talk about Kai'Sa, but I think it's very straightforward in this format that you should just both be playing Kai'Sa and Tristana, and then it's figuring out that third deck and the flavors of those 2 champions that you really enjoy and think to be the best for what you're trying to do. But to get ourselves back to Kai'Sa, this is kind of an interesting deck and an interesting champion. I feel like Kai'Sa is one of these Bruiser Champions, as I like to call them. If you look at something like Pantheon or Varus, these champions that have this ability to do, kind of a really big wind-up in the early game. You don't really play a lot of high-powered cards. If you're thinking of, say, something like Samira Pantheon or Samira Varus, you're just playing a lot of kind of the crappy units, trying to level up your champions to a degree. And then once your champion hits that, high level mark, whether or not that's a flipped Varus, a flipped Pantheon, a flipped Kai'Sa, whatever, they tend to just take over the game and end it very quickly in an attack or 2. And so while the journey can be quite different, the destination that you're getting yourself to is very similar across all 3 decks. And I think as we've been trying to kind of merge a lot of decks and themes together, I think it's probably pretty fair to merge this deck together in that kind of sense, as to where the deck list and the cards that you're going to see from, say, a Samira Varus look quite different than what you see from this version of Kai'Sa, but at the end of the day, they're kind of the same deck, and they just do the same thing in slightly different ways. And so with this deck in particular, the things that we're going to be doing here is we're going to try and hit Evolve as fast as we can. And so we're using the classic units like Voidling that has the 2 abilities attached to it. Voidling has Fearsome Lurk. Things like Petricite Broadwing have Challenger Formidable. And then from that point forward, you typically just need kind of like 2 keywords to push you over the edge and get your Kai'Sa leveled up. Once Kai'Sa's leveled up, the big thing you could really try to push towards with her is going to be giving her Scout, and ideally Scout plus Overwhelm. That's going to let you really come into a combat. You're attacking with like a 7/7 quick attacking thing that's dropping the Acathian Rain. The game tends to just be done at that point. And so typically whenever we're giving Kai'Sa Scout, she's also picking up Challenger from the likes of Genevieve. And so that's a way to really get those big high-powered turns and big game-ending attacks picking up those special abilities. And so, again, the way I like to think of this deck, we aren't trying to be a big board control deck. We're not trying to be an aggro deck. We're just trying to get units on the board, stall the game out for just a little bit, and then we're going to try and end it with a big, massive Kai'Sa. And so, that's the deck. That's what we'll be doing battle with today. Let's go ahead and jump on in. Ooh, this is scary. I got a cat wanting to hang out. I saw her. I was like lined up to the desk. I was kind of tucked in, and she was making that move where she, and it's it's a little bit on the scary side of things. She's gonna get clawed. Come on, girl. Come on. You want to be on the internet? She's thinking about it. But all right, let's take a peek at this starter. I don't think this is a spot to where we're really willing to hang on to Chain Vest. We need to pick up some other earlier plays, and so we're going to hang on to the Betheldi Elder. We're going to look for some dudes we can just slam on the board and try and be as aggressive as we can. We're up against Rise, and so Rise not particularly known for his combat prowess, and so I'd like to fill the board with bad units if we can, since he's typically not putting units on the board. Forge Chief out here to say, LOL, dumb, I got you real good. I actually can do combat a little bit, but the idea still stands, and we just got kind of a bad run of a mulligan here. I think I'm willing to just go ahead and make the trades. It's like, with the makeup of our hand, we're not going to slow down in terms of units. Ideally, we're going to be getting this Merciless Hunter into the Void Blaster. We're just not going to have the 2 mana for form up for quite a while. We could say, like, well, what if we play this a little bit slower and pick up a unit along the way, like we just picked up the Elder here, and that's fine. But I don't really want to count on that being the thing. I don't want to count on that being what's about to happen here, since it's no real guarantees that the unit's going to turn up. Alrighty. Did he really hit? Oh, he did. He had the mana banked up. I was like, did he really have all of that mana to play the Archivist along with the Aftershock? That Aftershock came off of the Archivist, and they did. They for certain did it. And so, not too bad for opponent. But let's get the Void Blaster online. We're pretty far away from actually hitting Evolve, and so it does kind of suck to slam our Void Blaster into this unit and then just say lose it to a Mystic Shot. But I'm not completely opposed to it. Maybe we just wait. It's just 2 points of damage, and we're getting really close to having the protection with this form up. Like, I need to kind of get out of my head a little bit that we're not playing. We're not playing with the. We're not playing against the Ionia version, so we're not going to have to worry about the bounce spells and the concussive palms and everything shutting down our units. Alright, pretty far away from Evolve. Kai'Sa will get us up to 4 with her quick attack. What'd you hit, Voidling? Challenger. Not quite what we're looking for. But we can still get pretty big on this board. I'd like to second skin the spell shield over to Kai'Sa. It feels a little bit early to be trying to slam Overwhelm onto her. She does get this nice Overwhelm onto. Oh no, he's popping our spell shield. It hits the weakest. I'm not happy with that. Let's push this off onto the Void Blaster, and then we can copy the spell shield onto Kai'Sa. Not too happy with that. Uh-oh. Shit's getting real. It is going down. What is this? High note onto Kai'Sa? Alright, I'll protect you, girl. I'll protect you. Ooh, that's scary. He's still got 3 mana. Definite opportunity for opponent to do some stuff here. So she survived so far. Gonna try and copy the spell shield. Not. We're guaranteed to get the spell shield, right? This is gonna happen. Our future Kai'Sas are gonna be protected. I'm just a little bit worried about the one that we've already got. We don't have a ton of stuff actually happening here, and he's starting to churn through. We really need to hit a Genevieve or something to flip the Kai'Sa and get all of the abilities going. Alright, he gives up on the old augmented clockling. Our board's fairly safe at the moment, right? We have the spell shield on the Elder, so it would be able to prevent the point of damage, or prevent some of the damage coming out of these shards. And now we do have an opportunity to flip the Kai'Sa. The Garen along with the Voidling would be enough. I had to check the keyword. I forgot that this may not have been enough, but I think we're good here. As long as we aren't just dead. I guess that's something to kind of stop and consider. If we play Garen, is it? I'm trying to think if it's like if he brings in the Rise, we can't hit him anyways, right? He's going to have spell shield when he comes down because there's 3 fragments, so we might just be dead here. But we can churn into this next turn. We should be okay. And all right, there's no incoming. No incoming Rise for the turn. He tapped down too low on his mana. Is going to get himself up to the 4 shards. Now, the thing I'm kind of curious about in this space is how bad is this for us? Do we need to hold on to the Voidling for next turn? And that just strikes me as too scary. Like, if we hold on to the Voidling to look for a better keyword next turn and just miss, then the game's going to be done. And so I'm going to go ahead and play it. It's going to hit our Evolve and flip our Kai'Sa. The thing that we can look to do is we have all these Cataclysms in hand, and so it is a little bit of a bummer that we don't have Overwhelm right now, right? We chose Spell Shield instead of Overwhelm, but you know that's what we signed up for, I guess. Rite of Negation's an interesting addition. All right, let's just bring it. He's going to Rune Prison something, but my kind of idea with this here is if he plays a unit, we might be able to Cataclysm Garen into something and then get the rally on the next turn and give us that opportunity to crush in and get the win. We also, if he the Rune Prison onto Garen makes sense. Also, if he plays Rise this turn, we should be able to. Oh boy, getting the blocks everywhere. If he plays Rise this turn, we should be able to double Cataclysm into him. The Caustic Riff. I mean, we're dealing 0 damage this turn. We can't get too crazy with anything that's happening. I don't think this is worth a Rite of Negation. Practical Perfectionist is okay. So there shouldn't be any Rises coming in. He can get the full collection of shards, but he doesn't have the Rise at the moment. We're still kind of lined up for the double Cataclysm as well, so maybe it'll turn out okay. And we knew this dum-dum was on top. We ran into issues with him when we hit the Lurk on the previous turn. All right, well, let's try this again.
There's nowhere to hide.
I'm not entirely certain this is proper. It's like I have in my head that we're going to be able to flip this Garen at some point, and we're only giving up on 5 damage, not playing any units, maybe 6 damage if you want to consider we could have put additional keywords onto Kai'Sa, but it just feels like giving him the opportunity to, say, put a shard on the board and pick up a Rune Prison and draw a card and everything. That's a lot for us to actually come in and handle here. All right, 3 sisters coming at us onto the Garen. Done a fantastic job of keeping us from striking with him. Not worried about Practical Perfectionist. Again, we're just wanting to hang on to these Cataclysms to try and take Rise down. We'll pick up the the regenerate off of Garen with the second skin. If the opponent, or I can say, if we ever pick up a Genevieve, then we should be able to pick up Challenger as well as the additional thing, the Scout. This has been a wild game. You should never be going this deep against Ryze and not be dead. We should have most certainly been dead like 3 or 4 turns ago.
I cannot stand by in the face of apocalypse.
But he puts Ryze on the board before, so he's not gonna have the time to get the attacks in, right? So we get to send the Cataclysm into him. Gonna break the chains, break the barriers and such, and then we should be able to follow up again. He doesn't have that. We don't have to worry about him attacking with the 5 shards on board right now. If he had it, he probably should have done that the other way, right? So he doesn't have to take multiple actions to get the Ryze attack.
You cannot stall judgment.
He's out of mana with this. Interesting choice. I thought he was going to go for the flash freeze, which would have been okay. It's like we would still get the attack in, and then the Acathian Rain would come in and pop the spell shield off of Ryze. So interesting no block. He was gonna lose his Imperfectionist anyways. He should have just stuck it in the middle. I think he might have given up. I think we got a phone in toilet situation here. One of those phone in toilet situations. But all right, man, that game is why no deck has a 100% win rate, right? I mean, I can't imagine you should be winning that game very frequently to where you're getting to like turn 11 or turn 12 against Ryze, and they just whiff. So I don't want you to feel like that we were that we were very deserving of that win, because that was some real problematic board for us. All right, but on to the next one. Let's hang on to this hatchling, get our evolve going as early as we can. We're up against the Tristana Bilgewater deck, so it's interesting seeing the 2 big versions of Tristana are going to be the Bilgewater version with the prize fights, and then the version I like to play with the champion strengths. And that he picked up elusive. It's kind of tempting early, but we'll let it go. The Bilgewater version with the prize fights, and the prize fight version has this opportunity to actually kill some of our big units, right? It's if he has combat cook on the board, he can still potentially prize fight a unit down to 1 health, and then with the unit at 1 health, take it down with their group shot or something. So they do have ways in their deck to say kill a Garen, kill a Genevieve, just by using the prize fight. You don't get that out of the Demacia version. All right, but with this, we're definitely attacking with our fearsome unit. He's gonna be putting in the work. It's gonna be the question: do we want to attack with the Elder? And I don't think we do. We're getting like to the point to where he's gonna be evolved. The kind of strategy you're looking to take against this deck is you don't really want to be trading. You want to be winning the combats. If you come in and trade, you're just playing to the opposing strengths. And so I want to just keep the Elder at home until it's going to be strong enough. I'm curious if he's ever going to play a 3-attack unit here. It's like, we probably never get to attack with Domination. So I'm going to leave her back.
I should stamp you out like the insect you are.
Get a good one? Spell Shield. Well, it's kind of a bittersweet spell shield, right? That's a very good ability to be hitting, but it doesn't help us hit our evolve. I'm gonna go ahead and put it onto the combat cook. We need to play units this turn. We can't really wait until we get a Garen on board to try and drop the combat cook down. Alright, so we're gonna pick up Tough. The Shepherd's Authority is just the worst one here. I was hoping to hit, ideally, I wanted to hit Impact. I wanted to hit the Pot of Pain just to have the big unit and get the Impact ability. Didn't come through, but it's okay. Does Vulnerable count? How sweet would that be? if the Vulnerable counted towards our Evolve. What are you on? Impact on the Voidling. We're gonna be stuck coming in with Garen. You can't even attack, but well, I think I would be okay to just trade Garen with Gnar. Alright, never mind. So the Vulnerable's on our Combat Cook. One keyword away, so we'll hit our Evolve next turn. Alright, just gotta pass. Okay. I mean, it's not a particularly scary board. We're about to have giant units, and if we're gonna be real, his units aren't that great, and so this Gnar is the only real problem that we have out here.
On it and on 'em.
I stand ready.
I think I'm okay to give up with Domination. She's not gonna do anything else this game. Right, I mean, I guess we do have this Voidling out here, right? But I don't think I want to hang on to her. So let's get into combat. He's going to have some kind of prize fighting in here. I don't think Garen's going to make it through the day. But I'm not really upset about losing any of these other units. And we're going to be in this spot next round to where we can play Genevieve here. Ooh, Garen did survive, at least up to this point. We can play Genevieve here, and then next turn we can open with Genevieve and get the Jarvan immediate summon. Not a bad spot to be in. Would we rather just play the second Genevieve just to get these really massive challenger-based attacks in? Like, there's really strong scout attacks. Doesn't seem as good as just dropping Jarvan. If Jarvan flips next turn and having more cataclysms on the opponent turn, it's going to be very powerful.
You cannot stall judgment.
This all we got? Hey, I've done more with less.
All right, bringing in the birds. Interesting.
Stay resolute.
Would we hit on the Voidling before we get too involved? Ooh, we hit Elusive.
Hold
Okay.
nothing back.
Found some flotsam.
Okay. R.I.P. Jarvan. You fought hard, my dude. You fought hard.
Double button.
That's a pretty good trade in terms of mana. Getting essentially a 2-cost unit and a 1-cost prize fight for our 6-cost Jarvan. But again, I think the big thing here is going to be if our friend Garen can really pull off some magic. So it's not going to be happening now.
These woods belong to us.
All right, well, we've got him kind of worn down. I mean, we got a pretty big collection of units on board. He's still got 3 cards in hand, but we don't have to worry about stuff like champion strength coming in.
Your conquest ends here.
are gonna be taking quite a bit of damage this round. We're gonna need to probably have a good Rite of Negation. I think I want to get Garen involved here. The question is, do we want to get Garen involved with Gnar? It's like I think we'll be okay with the Rite of Negation. Famous last words, most likely, but I think we'll be okay. Just a singular group shot. It's frightening in that they haven't opponent hasn't played too many cards this game, in the sense that this is his first removal spell and he's only played one prize fight, so it's kind of easy to have more in hand. Oh, Wallop is great. Fantastic. So he gets to keep his Gnar, but he's down 2 cards off of that. We're going to take 8 damage here. Okay. We'll play the Elder next turn. Who do we want to put this Pan of Pain on? I'm trying to envision if we're able to get another good attack with Genevieve, because we're most certainly going to play this other Genevieve next turn and get 2 scout attacks in. But are we going to be able to protect this one, right? And I don't think we are. So let's just play the Elder so that we don't miss out on any mana spend. And then we'll go into the next turn. Maybe we'll get to put the Pot of Pain onto the other Genevieve so she can start attacking some of these better units. Now the target's here, right? We can put, with the +1/+1 and the Pot of Pain, we have a lot of smaller units now, like the Mayor we can take down. I'm going to go ahead and equip it. And the grind continues.
Hold nothing back. Their pride will cost them.
I'm thinking to myself, like, do we ever want to just go ahead and hook Gnar, right? If he has a prize fight or if he has another group shot, we're just going to lose this Genevieve here to the left. I think it's okay. I definitely want to come in and attack him this round, but
These woods belong to us.
The wicked must fall.
let's leave this Elder at home. It's just a very easy trade with the Owlcat. I'm okay to take down Gnar because he's such a high-powered unit and generating Pokesticks, but with these other dum-dums, let's leave them at home. Okay, I think we're safe. Vandal Gunners can be a lot, but he's got to have to open attack on us, or we just get to immediately hit. Are we dead? Is that what's just happened? Is that what you just did to us?
Die, creature!
I stand ready.
We're gonna be at 1. No, we'll be higher than that. We get to prevent 4 damage with this quicksand. So we'll be at 3.
Hold fast.
I cannot stand for
Let's
this.
be real. That looks a lot better. No reason to just throw the units away. And then who do we want to chain vest here? Either the Garen. We should probably be protecting our Betheldi Elder, just to make sure we still have the unit. We are going to be picking this Pot of Pain back up, but we can push that over to Garen. Oh, come on. Fuck me. Just the only card in his deck that would get him out of this. Okay. Okay, dude. What a frustrating mess. Alright, well, on to the next one. Right, because if he gives us the opportunity, if he doesn't attack, then that gives us the opportunity to start playing Cataclysm or attack with Genevieve or whatever. So we get the opportunity to come in and start killing his stuff, and so he doesn't have the opportunities to deal any more damage. He's actively losing out on damage, not being able to attack. And Prize Fight was literally the only card that he could have drawn. Okay. That's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, I guess. Man, and we fought through that game as well. The thing that was like churning through my head the entirety of that game is we've made it this far without Kai'Sa, right? I guess you could say on the other end of the spectrum, the opponent never drew a Tristana, but man, just the Kai'Sa is the full build-around component of our deck to where Tristana is manageable for the opposing one. All right, though, the Voidling picked up a the Voidling picked up the spell shield keyword. We didn't want that. Let him come ahead and get this free attack with Samira. That's fine. If he doesn't want to take any targets and just wants to pass the turn back so we overbank a bunch of mana, that's okay. We're not in a real hurry with this hand that we have, and we're probably not doing anything on our next turn anyways. So I don't want to play Domination and have her just get eaten by Samira. This is a fairly tempting one to just let roll off. I mean, he's playing LeBlanc, he's not playing Pantheon, or he's not playing Varus, and so we might get an actual good block out of this hatchling in the future.
You will speak when I allow you.
All right, another round of Fearsome. Not that spectacular, but putting Fearsome on Domination might let her get to attack through here. So next turn we can look to play Domination, and then Voidling potentially getting +2 attack from the Dominations if it hits a nice keyword. What you got? Something coming in. Pirouettes off our Fearsome. Okay. You're not going to be the biggest attacker today, Domination. All right, Kai'Sa turns up. Kind of a turd of a keyword with the Voidling, and now that we've picked up Kai'Sa, we can add in Domination and then just try to boost either Garen or Kai'Sa next turn. We're not really close to evolve, but Kai'Sa is still a fantastic attacker. See if he does anything here. This is not a particularly juicy point of damage, right? He's just going to heal it back off the Cosmic Youngling, but if he wants to come in and play spells just to try and remove this thing, go for it. Go for it. Very, very interesting. Why would he play Mikhail's Blessing just to do that? Like, he's not going to flip Kai'Sa this round.
I should stamp you out like the insect you are.
And impact. Okay. All right, well, we have the opportunity for some pretty powerful stuff here. If we can get Kai'Sa down this turn, the quick attack's going to get us to evolve 4. The next turn we play Genevieve. That's going to get us to evolve fully, right, since we haven't hit Scout or Challenger. This is a fairly rough turn in terms of the opponent just passing to us, right? If he wants to give up on this round, we're overbanking super heavily. But he didn't take it. Now we should be able to just tear through this game. The thing I'm curious about, and where I don't quite have enough experience with this in the matter, is it's fairly all in on this round, just going for the Genevieve when we already have a Rite of Negation in hand. And so we could look to just say, maybe play some of these smaller units. Voidling has Regenerate. We're not going to be able to hit it any other way, though. All right, well, we're counting on you, Kai'Sa. She's going to be very stat-heavy, though, so we shouldn't have to worry about too much of the removal. Like, all of the strike-based removal out of this opposing deck is going to be too small. right, but we'll pull off the big combos now. Put the Scout Challenger onto Kai'Sa. Start tearing through some pretty big attacks here.
I'm learning.
I guess the card we would need to worry about would be Hush. Oh, this is still pretty good. I'm gonna take the safe attack with Genevieve. He could potentially flip the Kai'Sa this round and have her get the kill, but at the end of the day, I'm really just worried about the Kai'Sa here. Losing out on Genevieve would be a little sad, but it's certainly manageable. Oh, and we just get it? Ooh, that's strong. That's strong. Interesting. Just a giant blowout there. Now, we're in kind of the same spot. I don't want to lose our Genevieve to like a Hush or a Tellstones or something, and so I'm going to just hook in the smaller unit. We don't get to deal any damage this way, but I just feel like if we go into the next turn and we get to untap with the Rite of Negation, then we're just going to be in pretty tip-top shape. So just need to stall just a little bit. Everything's going to be fine.
Places to go, people to be.
Garen's just so bad here, right? I'm looking at add this Garen to the board and you just can't even block anything. I guess, I mean, we could play Garen and trade him with the Trifarian. That doesn't sound great. Those aren't really the words you're wanting to be making here. What if we just drop the hatchling? Yeah, alright, I'll block. He is bringing that thunder onto Kai'Sa. So, I mean, this would probably just be a brutal business. We can play around pure brutal business. He's got that. He's got that lined up, right? This is primed and ready to charge at us. And so we'll just keep the Rite of Negation mana up, and then we should be okay. It's especially nice if he plays it, say, like right now. Ooh, he does it off of the Trifari and not off of the LeBlanc. I'm going to say we get this chance. Well, we still can just sacrifice off the unit, right? This takes a strike away from him. All right, so now we get to add in Garen. Opponent doesn't have any mana, so we don't have to worry about anything. And now we're going to deal more damage on this attack, just letting Jarvan hook in on LeBlanc. I mean, realistically, LeBlanc's just going to get killed by the Kai'Sa ability, and then Jarvan's not even going to lose his barrier. Does that mess things up? I guess we can technically fight through this one as well. Oh, we don't have the mana? Fuck. A little bit of whoopsies there. I think we're still okay, but I was just like, we're open attacking. I have all the mana in the world. Should have stopped to do a little bit of analysis on on the amount of mana before we spewed off the card. But nonetheless, GG, victory unlocked. And man, I've been playing on my second account today. I'm really hoping I can finish off the event pass on this one. It was wild. Once Riot made that change, the event pass just like finished super fast. Like I feel like on my main account I was like 60% of the way done with it, and then the event pass upgrade happened and it just like snapped done. And so it was like it took 2 or 3 weeks to get 75%, and then it took like 2 days to finish off the rest of the thing. It was wild. I'm curious how much tuning they're still doing with the event passes and everything. There were a lot of complaints with this one, and I'm curious if they just kind of like paced it wrong. And it's I don't think it's weird that there are you know, like cards coming at you from the main set, and then things like also happening for Path of Champions, and so you get a little bit of, you know, kind of each thing as your you get like a little bit of each game, if you will, as you're kind of running through the thing, but it's it's interesting in the sense, like I'm just wondering. I know I'm getting kind of rambly with it, but I'm wondering if they just had like too much cards because of Path of Champions, or if they had too much going on because of the other formats. But here, this is fine. I'll get back in and focus in on this game. We're gonna come in and hit Evolve with Kai'Sa next turn. We haven't played Quick Attack yet, and we have Tough. And so I wanted to play a 2 health unit so we could try and get in front of this. Like, as long as this game drags on, we're gonna be okay. Like, Scouts isn't very good at killing off a big unit like Kai'Sa. And so if we can just kind of come in and prevent the damage, we're gonna be doing just fine.
There's still time. There has to be.
It's also kind of cool being able to just burst speed evolve onto our Kai'Sa. That barrier is not going to be enough, my dude. He's about to make it rain up in your shit. Alright, so let's watch a little movie. Smoke the opposing board. See if we can't call it a day. We even get a fresh attack with the Xerxes hatchling since the protector can't block. And oh my gosh, we hit our lurk. What a wild set of outcomes. Okay. Okay. Sure. So we know we're drawing a dud this turn, but this is a spot that's kind of interesting to me. And again, like if we played 50, 60 more games with this, I'm sure we would know right out the gates. But we have this opportunity next turn to get both Scout Challenger down because we have Genevieve, or we could look to go for the Overwhelm path and potentially get the big punch in. But we can't do both, right? We don't have 2 copies of Second Skin. And I'm pretty certain that with opponent at 15, we're going to just go the board control route and try and get Genevieve down next turn. But it's certainly worth a thought as to, are we going to go for the board control, or are we going to go for the big punch in? And so if opponent was at like 6, it would be pretty easy. But with them up so high, I think we have to go Genevieve, and then we'll pay 1 mana for our Second Skin. Can't forget that. But right, these attacks aren't spectacular, given that we don't have Overwhelm yet. What? Victory unlocked. And this is one of the things that it's interesting. I told you at the beginning I wanted to play this deck, I wanted to play Scouts, and I wanted to play the Pantheon Vayne deck. And the decks like Scouts traditionally get smoked by the big Bruiser decks. And so Pantheon has always been a very strong card in the face of Scouts. And I'm curious if that's not just kind of a bait, and that looking to play Scouts, like with Samira, Samira Bruiser deck either being Samira Varus, Samira Pantheon being so popular, and with you're looking to be strong with Scouts against the opposing Tristana decks, and so you don't entirely get to just get the kind of free wins there, if you will, but it's tough. Now this is awkward. Like I intended to kind of slow play the Broadwing here, or to slow play the Xerxes Hatchling here, so that we could potentially have the mana for our Broadwing. But I feel like we should have just dropped the Domination. Well, we could have just played the Domination. So we're a little bit slow on our Evolve curve now. I think he's still okay. Well, I like the idea of getting these big stats onto the Void Blaster next turn. So let's just come in with Domination now. Pick Quick Attack. Interesting in terms of Void Blaster. Makes him a very powerful unit even without the Kai'Sa.
From all the regions we are one. Rather be sailing, but this looks fun too.
Alright, I was wondering if he was going to pick up a way that would let us just kill the Castaway with the Broadwing. I'd love to get in one more Broadwing trade if we can, but didn't. He added a big Castaway in. I'm ready enough to just trade away the domination at this point. Buster Shot? Why? Is he just going to try and kill it next turn? Like, if you're going to make this attack with Bandle City Mayor, why don't you just attack with it into the Void Blaster and then hit the Void Blaster with the Buster Shot after combat? That's very strange to me. He has to have the other Buster Shot right now or he risks us evolving, which we're going to do with the Hatchling. We can drop the Hatchling. We haven't hit Fearsome yet, so we can drop the Hatchling immediately and then get the Void Blaster above Buster Shot range. Would we rather just play Garen? I don't think so. It's just such strong attacks with the Void Blaster. Not looking too bad with all these Betheldi Elders either. I think we'll want to keep 3 mana back. I don't want to play both Elders this turn and then like run into Tristana next turn and not have the mana to play both Garen and Cataclysm. But one Elder seems good here, even if it's... Is it even good? Just trading with the Grandfather Fae? I mean, we can say, like, hook the Grandfather Fae out of combat with the Broadwing, and then try and get a big attack in that way. I'm not liking any of that anymore. We'll just take our one good attack and call it a day. Don't need to get too clever with this. And it is usually better to leave yourself in the spot to where we can just take down the passive burden on the opposing combat, right? We talk about this concept a lot to where if we attack on our turn and trade the Broadwing into the passive burden, are we putting ourselves in a spot to where the opponent can refill their board, but we can't refill ours? And that's what you're about to see right here, in the sense that opponent easily has a 6-unit board. He has 4 mana and a Hungry Owlcat in hand. He can most certainly refill his board if we make the trade, but we're done, right? We can't add any more units to the board. And so we want to kind of keep that attack back. All right. Not a bad battle, and we're going to get one more game in. I like these videos to kind of make it to the hour mark. We're about to push 50 minutes, and so we'll get one more game in. That first Tristana game drug on forever. We really ground that one out, and so I'd like to... don't blame me. Blame the other guy, right? It's never my fault. All right, well, hang on to the Hatchling. I don't think we want to have the Green Fang Warden. He's just one of those, like, he's more of a utility card and not a card we actually want to play on turn 3. I think I'd rather look for better units. Not the greatest mulligan, but not the end of the world. There we go. Broadwing certainly helps.
We have gone long without justice, but keep hope alive. Her light still burns.
Well, I'm willing to trade the Xerxes Hatchling for literally any combat trick in the game. And so if he wants to make this attack, I'm okay with it. The attack like that just makes me think that he has to already have a... well, it's just trying to shoot up for his Pantheon real quick, right? I think this is okay, though. So if he has the Pale Cascade, his Wounded White Flame's going to become a 4/5. And I'm certainly okay with trading form up for the Wounded White Flame. It should set him back exceptionally far. Right, what you're really trying to do with a lot of these Pantheon style decks is you want to play all of your units on your opponent's attack token. So then it comes back to your attack token. You attack and you have 4 and 5 mana built up. And so even if you don't have the combat tricks, you can still kind of bluff that you do, because everybody's like, oh, I'm playing against the deck with all the combat tricks in it. They have to have one. And you get that kind of like safety net, and so you get to attack, and then if your opponent doesn't block, you can follow up with your spells afterwards. But you don't want yourself to be in this spot, right, to where you had 4 mana, you spent 3 of it on the opposing unit. We don't have to really worry about any combat tricks now because nothing costs 1, and so we're in a fairly safe spot. Now with these, we can just play Void Blaster. We haven't played any Evolves yet, so no, Evolve doesn't count. Let's add the Void Blaster, just thinking about next turn. When we play Garen, he's going to be pretty good. So Garen's Regenerate will hit the Evolve for us. Now we have some really nice attacks. If he plays something particularly scary, we can just hook it out with the Broadwing. He doesn't, and so let's get the squad in. I think these fearsome attacks are okay. Like it's like I kind of want to get them off the board because they don't do anything at this point. But he has such good blocks. But I mean, he's getting fucking nugged. He's not dealing with our good units if he takes the blocks onto the small guys. But he can combat trick the White Flame and throw it in front of a hatchling. Interesting. Just a brutal skirmish. Loses this unit, no targets on the White Flame. Okay. I give that a sure thing, bud. That's what I give it.
You're gonna take your own damn medicine.
We'll add the Void Blaster. He's definitely not attacking now that he adds the second dragon to the board. We're a little bit short of the lethal, but do we want to push in? I think we have to open here. Like if we say play Combat Cook, and then opponent plays Pantheon, and then they play a card on Pantheon in the middle of combat, we're gonna get smoked. And so this gives us some opportunity to just win the game right now or kill off all these dudes. I just think these attacks here are just too good. That heal went to face. This is currently looking like a lethal. Okay, we're out of range. But we can Chain Vest our Garen. He survives now. Everybody else survives. We'll have the rally for next turn. And now if he plays a combat trick onto the White Flame over here, we have this opportunity to form up and protect the Garen. That should be enough to win the game for us. Looks like it was. GG. And so, man, not a bad set of games. I felt like we handled those pretty strong, pretty well. The thing that I was really kind of taking away from this is the strength that we had in the games when we didn't even have Kai'Sa, right? We didn't play Kai'Sa in that final game. As we lost that game against the Tristana deck, we didn't have the Kai'Sa there either, but it was like super, super close, and he had to hit that sick top deck to actually beat us, and I really liked a lot of the spot where that left us. And so this is definitely an interesting deck. Again, like I like the idea of adding in another just big bruiser style of deck, and it feels like you can kind of pace yourself against things like Tristana to where, as long as you have that understanding in your head that trades are bad, you can just kind of build up board and play things a little bit safely, and then they don't have great answers to things like Kai'Sa. And so good there. But as we were talking about wanting to say potentially play something like Scouts, I don't like the idea of Scouts when things like Pantheon are so popular, but we're still going to try it out and see how we think. And so with this, the list, I don't feel comfortable making any changes or edits to it at this point. I would assume that BaJAtakk was much more well versed with the deck and jammed a bunch of games before the Open came, and so his viewpoint is going to be way more valid than I have. But I was pretty happy with all of the numbers. The thing that's seeing it that is always kind of odd to me is when this deck doesn't play the Quinn bird. That was the first thing that really struck my mind when I took a look at this list. Is you do see the Green Fang Warden and you see the Genevieve, but you don't have the Blinding Assault as a way to give that Kai'Sa the quick attack, or give Kai'Sa the Challenger Scout from a different unit or from a cheap unit, right? So you can set up those plays to where it's turn 5, you play the Scout Bird, and then you put the second skin on the bird, and then that levels up your Kai'Sa, and you're able to go from there. But I think if again, I haven't heard anything that he's said about this deck, but I would think if you're under the viewpoint that you're going to play against the Tristana deck over and over again, and if you think the Tristana deck is going to be coming at you as the Bandle City version, or I'm sorry, the Bilgewater version that has the 6 ping spells. They play 3 pastries, they play 3 group shots. Putting a 1 health bird on the board isn't that compelling. And that was one of the things that I was ultimately pretty worried about as we played things like Aatrox Vein, was you needed these games to where you got a bird on board and then you put the equipment on it, and then you were just kind of squeezing your cheeks hoping your opponent didn't have the 1 damage removal spell. I would say that was probably pretty quickly his observation, in that if you follow that sequence and just have your second skin wasted and your unit killed by a 1 damage spell, that it was just too much. And so that was, again, the only thing I really struck me as odd. But all in all, pretty powerful stuff right out the gates. And I think it's going to be a deck we'll be seeing more and more of over the upcoming week. So, good stuff. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so, hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.